What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back to the Teacher Project 2.0. You know, for season 6, because that's what we're coming up on, is season 6. For season 6, two things will happen. So season 6 starts in January, right? Because we started our channel in January. I don't know how we got to season 6, but we just gonna roll with
Right.
it.
I don't even feel like that's the right number.
Well, it's right today. This is this is what I need. I need two things by January of 2024. This is what I
God.
need by January 2024. The first thing I need is for us to get to our 1,000 subscribers. We're less than 400 away from our 1,000 subscribers. And the second thing I need is some intro music. Okay? All right. Yes. Yes. Why Yana say she just walked in from picking up her baby kids? You know what, Yana? I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you. So, hey, everybody, you guys, it is October, it is fall, and we are here. So we have, again, we have a couple of stories to come to you about today, to bring to you today. But how things going with you, Dr. L?
I am tired. I feel like I'm ready for a fall break. Like it's a lot going on. My travel schedule is crazy. My work schedule is crazy. And my body is like, it's time to just chill.
Yeah, well, I know all the things that you have going on, and you are in your busy season, so you're just gonna have to make it
Mhm.
do what it do until after your
Mhm.
birthday, because it's not slowing down. It's not. So,
It's
and for those of you
not.
that don't know, the doc's birthday he's a New Year's baby, so it's not going anywhere until 2024. So you're just gonna have to make it do what it do.
Speaking of
um,
birthdays, I'm real mad at that announcement you made on St.
We'll
James
talk about it
Campbell yesterday.
offline. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. We'll talk about it offline though. So, um, I made some changes to my birthday plans. I didn't tell him beforehand. But moving on. So, baby, we just came off a fall break, and I'm ready for winter break already. Well, listen, we don't even get a fall break, so I don't even get a fall break, so I'll take a fall break to complain about it being over. Okay. I kind of took my own fall break though, because I took a half a day Friday and I took Monday off. So I kind of took my own fall break.
I'm about to
But I
take
was
tomorrow
busy.
and
I
my
was I was
Saturday off.
busy. I took those days off for a reason. So anyway, let's get to the meat and potatoes. So we have 3 stories to bring you guys today. I want to do the teacher shortage one last because I feel like that's the most I'm gonna have an opinion on is the teacher shortage. So do you want to start with Missouri or Florida? Where do you want to go first? Is it run? You know, we should do one of the wheels. We should do the auto
Let's do
wheel.
Missouri.
And
Let's
put the
do Missouri.
story.
Let's just do Missouri. I mean, Florida is inevitable. We know
Y'all
we're
know
gonna get there.
we gonna always have a story on Florida, child. Florida keeps if we don't never have content from anywhere else, baby. We're gonna have some content from the state of Florida. Okay. That would be the Doc's state, even though he tries his best to not claim it. But
I'm from Miami. Please be clear.
he is from the great state of. We need to get that clip, and we need to play that clip every time. That clip from Kid Fury, where
Oh,
he. We need to get that clip, and we need to play that every time you don't claim Florida, but you claim Miami every time. All right, you guys. For anybody that's new here, this is how it goes. We bring you guys hot topics in the field of education. We read through the information, we break the information down, and we give you our unsolicited and often opinionated opinion. Okay. So today we are coming to you guys from the great state of Missouri. This is coming from KMSU, the Ozarks Public Radio. It is dated October the 18th of 2023. And let's get into it. The headline reads Missouri's Board of Education backs off of state standards for social emotional learning. Interesting. Missouri State Board of Education will provide schools with optional guidelines on social emotional learning to help them cope with worsening student behavior. The board decided at Tuesday's meeting to roll back an original proposal to implement social emotional learning standards in its K through 12 schools after a month-long period of public comment that sparked more than 1,800 responses from parents, educators, and community members. Disruptive student behavior has reportedly grown worse since schools shuttered for COVID-19. Nationally, teachers cite workplace culture and persistent behavior issues as reasons they're leaving the field, leading to a teacher shortage. Well, we'll talk more about that later. To help retain more teachers, the state's Department of Education wants students to learn self-awareness, respect, and empathy. Ahead of Tuesday's meeting, commissioners expressed concerns over potential political pushback to the learning standards. Social emotional learning is one of the latest targets of conservatives who believe it promotes a liberal agenda. New research shows social emotional learning in school pays off, but at conservatives see a liberal agenda. Okay, I'm sorry, that was the title was cut off. Those concerns were reflected in the comments the department received, roughly one-third of which the Missouri Independent reported were negative. Many respondents raised issues with the learning standards, linking them with diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts they deemed politically divisive. Opponents also said that these skills are parents' responsibility and that the state standards would encourage teachers to practice psychology without a license. We're going to come back to that. Many of these comments included identical language indicating that they were sent by the same person or copied from the same source. State Education Commissioner Margie Vanderven said there were two important takeaways from the feedback. One, there's clearly a lot of confusion around what we are trying to accomplish in this process. And two, we clearly have heard very strongly from our teachers that they need our support in making sure that we're helping our teachers address those very, very complex issues that they're dealing with in the classroom. The board said it will continue to work on student behavior and classroom management. It will also distribute the social emotional learning standards created by the group of educators, counselors, and mental health experts as an optional resource. Jen Foster, co-chair of the work group that developed the standards, told KCUR's Up to Date, a big misconception of social and emotional skills is that they aren't as important or take away from class time for academic subjects. That's why she says the group encourages teachers to integrate the skills into their everyday teaching. It's not replacing or taking away from academics. It's enhancing and making academics easier to be implemented in the classroom. It helps students to learn skills like persisting and engaging in difficult challenges and all of those things that we need to have them practicing to improve their academics. Teachers and parents narrowly supported the proposed learning standards. Parents were the largest group to comment, making up to 46% of respondents. About 52% of them supported the proposed learning standards and 40% did not. Among the nearly 18% of respondents who identified as educators, 52% were supportive and 28% were unsupportive. Community members made up of 13% of respondents, with 38% in support, 48% not in support. The Independent reported groups of employers, legislators, school board members, and superintendents were more likely to hold a negative view than a positive or neutral. Board member Mary Schrag said the disparity between community members and educators views point to a need for more communication. Educators more supportive because they know there's a need, she said. Thoughts?
Sorry, I had to mute myself because stupid lawn people decided it was a good idea to cut the grass right over here. Fine. Anyway, this is more of the same where you oppress the already overly oppressed. I mean, you have teachers crying out, listen, we got some real discipline issues going on in these classrooms. So we definitely need to make sure that part of our curriculum and what we want to teach does go into social and emotional learning. Now, for you to the arguments that they're making in this all about, oh, this is the parents' job. Last time I checked, if y'all were doing such a good job of doing this, parents, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. there would not be a need for us to address this. And this is all teaching skills on how to behave yourself, decorum, having social skills has been embedded in public schools since its inception. That's a part of, because if we leave it to, well, we're just going to make it that each family's responsibility to teach that to the children. Hello, states have record numbers of DCF cases and complaints where ain't nothing going on in some of these households, and you want us to leave it to these people. Then, for those parents that are allegedly teaching these things, how many of these people are racist, discriminatory, and or bigoted? And therefore they're going to pass that on to that child. And you're telling me that outside of the confines of that child's individual house, they are, it's okay for them to exhibit those same behaviors they were taught by their racist, bigoted parents out in the general public. The purpose of teaching these things in school is so that children understand that when you get in public, when you get outside of your own home, there are certain rules, there's certain etiquette, there's a certain decorum that you have to have, interpersonal skills, social skills, emotional intelligence that you have to have in order to make it through life, in order to be a productive member of our society. So it stands to reason that the same people screaming holy hell about teaching history are the same people screaming holy hell about teaching children to have emotional intelligence, to be socially adequate within our society. Basically, what we need to do is basically say, screw it all to hell. Let's just do away with the whole public school system at this point, because that's where we're going. At this point, the eroding of everything that we know to be pedagogy, the eradication of everything that deals with fundamentally sound education is just it's at an all-time high. And it looks to me like there is everybody's hell bent on erasure or elimination of the public school system, and the people who are allegedly supposed to be fighting this is just sitting back and letting it happen, just letting it happen, and not doing anything about it. It's so sad. So you know what, y'all parents, y'all know what's best. Y'all want to give it, y'all want all of the say so, fine. In these states, do away with public schools, have homeschooling, or make the parents pay for it. There you go. That's my solution, because I have nothing else for these people. I have nothing else for these people. What the hell else do they want from teachers? What the hell else do they want from education? Because you're eroding everything. And so you want it so bad. Here you go. Let's just do away with all the public school system, really, and give it to them. Either you pay for private school, and I'll mean pay for it with public funds and voucher system. I'm not saying that. Your own pocket, or do your own homeschooling. See how that works for you. I have nothing else. I have nothing.
Okay. Okay. Um, so here's my opinion. As somebody that, first of all, what I want us to stop doing is I want us to stop looking back and creating a revisionist history. Um, Things were getting bad before COVID. And because we've had these conversations, you literally just left. And I know you weren't in the classroom, you were working on the district level, but you were still day to day. You knew what was going on day to day. Right before the world shut down, you had literally just changed jobs, which is how you got stuck in Atlanta. But that's another conversation for another day. But the reality of the situation is things were getting bad before COVID. Did COVID exasperate things? Absolutely. In my experience, there are a variety of factors. Right. One of the biggest factors for me, and I've said this to you guys a million times, and I'll keep saying it because it's my experience as well. When I first started teaching, teachers and parents were allies. If I called 90% of the time, because there's always going to be the exception to the rule, but 90% of the time, if I called a parent, I got the benefit of the doubt. It was always, oh, my child did what? Right? If the school reached out to the parent, 90% of the time, we got the support we needed. When I first started teaching, parent-teacher conference we used to have to put time limits, and we used to have to put chairs outside of our classroom because there were so many parents in the building to come and talk to the parent, to teachers. Again, was it 100%? It was never 100%. But was it a lot more than what we have now? Absolutely. So that's the first issue for me, is that now teachers have become the enemy. Parents look at the teachers as the enemy. I don't know what happened to this generation of parents when they were in school, but something in them has a distrust of education. They have a distrust of whatever their experiences were when they were in school. Because yes, I've been teaching long enough that I'm dealing with a whole different generation of parents. But there's just something there where they just don't trust us, right? And then there's no progressive discipline. And again, I say no. I know no is a strong word, but again, in my experience, there is no progressive discipline. Again, when I first started teaching, yes, you had classroom management level, but the things that I used to be able to do in my classroom, I can't do anymore. We can't, I know this sounds very elementary, but no, we can't make kids write 100 times, I will not, blah, 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 right? No, we can't make, kids do an extra homework assignment and get their parents to sign off on it. That's punishment. No, we can't separate the kids from the rest of the class. All of that's considered corporal punishment, right? There's no after school detention. Why? Because, and I taught, when I first started teaching, I taught in DC. So there were no school buses in DC. But you can't keep the kids after school now because, it's safety concerns and the safety issues. And I'm not saying these things aren't valid, but I'm saying that a lot of the tools that teachers had in their toolboxes are gone. And then in-house suspension, which was really that next level after the classroom management piece, then it was like an in-house level piece. Well, in most school districts, because of the teacher shortage, they don't even have that position. They don't even have that position. Like, I know in the schools that do have that position, that person that's supposed to be running in-house, they get pulled to do cover classes and do all these other things because there is such a shortage. So what that leaves the schools with is basically suspension or nothing at all, right? It's a pat on the shoulder. Oh, man, can you just do what we need you to do, man? Come on, man. Come on, young. Because that's how the security guards talk to the kids, right? Come on, man. Can you just do what we need you to do? It's either that or suspension, right? And then the school districts look down on suspension. Why? Because they don't want the kids out of school because they're already not getting the academics that they need. So the toolbox is basically depleted. And then you want to know why student behavior is what it is. You put rules in place that you give us no way to enforce. You say, the kids aren't allowed to have their cell phones. But how do we enforce it? Now, I know that some schools have things that they put in place. I used to have a system pre-COVID that I had in place. I know that some of the schools have the bags. And, there's some things that they've put in place. But again, as a general rule, we've seen the videos of these students legitimately physically assaulting teachers over a cell phone. So as somebody that's on the front lines every day, that's my frustration is what do you want me to do?
And that's why I say really be at this point, the degradation of what we know to be the institution of K through 12 education is so out of control that I'm at the point where I'm like, give them what they want. You want it? Fine. Don't take none of my taxpayer dollars for it. You want to have control over your child, then you pay for it or you teach them. Because I ain't got that type of energy. As teachers, we don't have the type of time to be physically assaulted by your child. We don't have time to be disrespected by your child. We don't have time for you coming in here and telling me that 1 + 2 is actually 5 and not 3, because that's what you're doing when you tell us Oh, don't teach history. Teach this, which is not history. Oh, don't teach that. Teach this. Oh, your child is black. We don't want you to tell them that. We don't want them to have any parts of knowing who they are or where they come from. Oh, your child happens to be LGBTQ plus. No, that's not even allowed. Maybe they don't even exist in this world. You want it so bad, fine. You take it. Don't try to take my tax dollars for it. Don't complain to me about anything. You got it. Because there's nothing else. We have no other recourse at this point. There's nothing else that we could. There is nothing. What else do you want from us? You want blood? What else do you want?
Right. And I've been on the other side. I've been an administrator. And so I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm just that teacher. No, I've been on the other side. And I know I'm not blaming administration. I am saying that the tools have been taken away from all of us. I'm not throwing this on principals and saying, oh, the principals don't this, and this, but they don't have the toolbox either. We literally, I'm gonna just give y'all an example and then we can move on to the next story. We literally had a situation at my school where we had this huge fight maybe a month ago. Like, it was like the second week of school. Because I remember thinking, it's the second week of school. And when I say a huge fight, I mean a huge fight. I mean, it was probably 30 kids involved in this situation. Some of those kids, they put up the principal recommended for expulsion based on the information that surrounded how the fight started, who was involved, all that good stuff, right? The principal asked for those students to be put up for expulsion, right? It went through the process. It was kicked back. They were said, nope, those kids can't be expelled. Those kids, 3 of those kids were back in the building for 3 days. And guess what they did again? They jumped another student. 3 days later. Now what it is, they're back up for expulsion. So again, it's that cycle that we're in. And in the interim, now you have more kids who have been assaulted for basically, they're fighting over neighborhoods. So basically, these kids were walking down the hall. They just happened to live in a different neighborhood and they got assaulted from kids that the principal had said, this is not the right setting. Because when you say expulsion, that doesn't mean they're not in school anymore. They're just in a different setting. The principal has said, hey, these kids, this isn't the right setting for them. And the powers that be kicked it back. And now 3 days later, we're right back where we started. I indicated that my school requires clear bags. How did that happen? The school board, that's for the whole county that I work in. So that's the school board. The school board did that over the summer. Every single school in my county, the kids are supposed to have clear book bags. Yeah. So, and that, yeah. So anyway, we could do a whole hour on this. We have 2 more stories that I want us to get to, but yeah, you guys, that's, again, in my opinion, it's the toolbox. The toolbox has just been depleted, But anyway, well, it's time to get to Florida. Fun times. As always, the link to that article is in the chat. I'm going to put the link to the next article in the chat, and I will, you guys know I put the links in the description of the videos as well. So if you're catching this on the replay, you can also access these articles if you just go into the description box. Okay. So this article is coming from, Dr. L. Teddy's, not elementary school, same county. Are we in the same county? C. Watkins? Okay, don't say it in the chat. Don't say it in the chat. Don't tell where I work now. So it's not elementary. Okay, I'm on the high school level. So I thought it was because I could have sworn over the summer they were giving away book bags for everybody. But okay, you sound like so I'm gonna leave it there. But again, I don't teach elementary and I don't have no churn, so I only know the kids I deal with. Exactly. C. Watkins said these parents believe that their kids are their friends, haven't set boundaries, so now they don't understand respect boundaries in school. Facts on top of facts on top of facts. Okay. So this article, this is coming from WFSU Public Media, and it is dated October the 18th of 2023 as well. Florida Education Board takes up private school bathroom rules. Now, this is a follow-up to a story I believe we talked about a couple of shows ago, El Teddy. Then we talk about this. All right. Okay. So this is a follow-up. Okay. Middle and high school only. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank y'all. Thank you much. Thank you much. I don't know about them elementary school churns. All right, you guys. So I'm reading this article to you guys. The Florida Board of Education is expected to vote Wednesday, October the 18th, to expand certain statewide bathroom restrictions to private colleges and universities. Public school students and faculty are already banned from using bathrooms that don't align with their sex that they were assigned at birth. If approved, students and professors at a private institution would be banned from using bathrooms and changing rooms that don't align with the sex that they are assigned at birth. These new rules would apply to facilities found in classrooms and athletic centers, along with student housing. Private colleges and universities would also be required to establish disciplinary procedures for anyone who enters a facility designed for the opposite sex. The Florida Department of Education says professors and staff who don't abide by these rules stand to lose their certification in the state. Bathroom restrictions have already been in place for public K-12 schools and colleges under the Safety in Private Spaces Act that took effect July 1st of 2023. Let me tell y'all the story. I'm gonna just tell y'all the story that's gonna sum this whole thing up. I'm gonna tell y'all the story. So this weekend, for those of you who are on my other channel, you guys know where I was this weekend and what I was doing this weekend. So Friday night, when I got to where I was going, I was hanging out with some of my friends who are part of the LGBTQ community, right? I was with a friend of mine and his boyfriend, and then I was with another friend of mine who is a transgendered woman, and she's gorgeous. When I say gorgeous, gorgeous. So we were at a little lounge. We had dinner, and then the restaurant where we were had a rooftop lounge. So after dinner, we went up to the lounge. We're having a couple of cocktails, and we're dancing, and we're having a good time. So me and my male friend, who is a gay man, we were on our way to the bathroom. He had to go to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom, and I saw as both of us walked past a group of guys. They saw him, and he had a little sachet, he had a little sachet in his walk, and I saw them sort of nudge each other and kind of point at him, and I was like, oh Lord, please don't let it be no problems. But I saw them kind of pointing at how he was walking or whatever, right? And they didn't say anything to us. There was no issue like that, but I noticed it. And what was funny was about 20 minutes later, my transgendered friend had gone to the bathroom. And she came out the bathroom, and like I said, she is gorgeous, and she looked good. She had on this beautiful body dress, had some thigh-high Mary J. Blige boots on, makeup, hair, everything. She was gorgeous, right? She walked by. Oh my! The way the eyes popped out of the head, the way that they was like, trying to shoot their shot, and I said, now, y'all have no clue. Because when the gay guy walked by you, y'all was, look at him. But when the transgendered woman walked by you, you was breaking your neck and try to get her phone number. And this was all surrounding a bathroom. And so I say that to say this. Y'all stupid. That's it. I'm done. I'm just done. I'm done.
I thought the whole purpose of aren't these the same people who say private institutions have the right to whatever their belief systems are? They have religious freedom.
Until the beliefs don't align with them.
You know what I'm saying? What if my belief is that you get where I'm going here?
So I absolutely get where you're going. And of course, my transgender friend was in the woman's bathroom with me. She was in the woman's bathroom with me. Okay. And I don't know what she did in her stall. Wasn't my business. Just like she don't know what I did in my stall. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I guess, especially on now, again, and El Teddy and I have had the conversation offline when we talk about, middle school, high school bathrooms. We've had those conversations. But certainly on a college level, I know I don't care. And I know that it should not be.
Aren't college students grown last time I checked?
The last time I
They're
checked it,
grown people.
I mean, it's the same. I mean, like under this is, mm. Y'all. I'm so sick of talking about like how long we been talking about bathrooms, El Teddy? How long have we been talking about bathrooms? Like these are the same people that we can't get updated equipment in our classrooms, but you worried about a bathroom. These are the same people that still have teachers buying their own school supplies, but you worried about a bathroom. And again, you know, I understand. You know, again, we're talking about college level kids right now, so let's not conflate the conversation. But we're talking about people who you won't even send their grades to their parents because they are considered adults, even though their parents are probably paying the tuition, right? And and even the professors aren't allowed. Even the professors, we talking about 56, maybe in some cases 50, 60, 70-year-old people. They can't do it either. Or they're
So
going to lose their license.
if I'm the president and I am the board of trustees at this private institution, and I don't want to align myself with this, do I now start looking for residents in other states?
Absolutely. Listen, everybody else leaving Florida, you might as well join them. They said, remember this summer, it's a guy on TikTok. I think I might have sent you a few of them. He's a retired teacher. He's a retired history teacher, and he's an Uber driver. Now he's like a full-time Uber driver. And he literally, all summer long, his TikToks were about how the industry, the tourist industry was affected by that new law that went into place. I don't forgot the name of it now, where basically they were cracking down on immigrants and, and so they were talking about the construction, they were talking about the hotels. And then he was talking about how tourism is down because people just weren't going to Florida this summer. Like people just were not going to the state of Florida. And he was talking about, before a lot of this stuff, how, what his Uber rides look like. And he literally did a video of him driving through the airport, like in July, Fort Lauderdale airport in July. And it was literally empty. He literally drove around and there was nobody there. And he was like, yeah, he said, this is Fort Lauderdale airport in the middle of July. Nobody's going to Disney World. Nobody, like, he was just, and I mean, again, when I say nobody, obviously I don't mean it was tough, but I mean, probably compared to 3 years ago or pre-pandemic, I guess, what Fort Lauderdale's airport would look like in the middle of the summer. I mean, again, you grew up in Florida,
It baffles me. But here's the thing: Florida ain't alone. So
absolutely not.
And so you stand to have. We always talk about the copycats. You stand that Florida isn't the first, and Florida won't be the last. And so now you people have stayed silent and sat idle and allowed these people to get in positions of power. And now that these people are in positions of power, they ain't going nowhere. And they're wielding their power however they see fit, and they will affect your lives, whether or not you want them to.
And I mean, because I'm right up the street from Virginia. We know Virginia is right up in there in the top 5. But we had to do a top 5 states. Florida, we know, is number 1. Texas is number 2. But baby, Virginia is right up there. I think we got Virginia, Arkansas, and what's the other state that's competing? One of those.
Alabama is always.
I was going to say it was either Alabama or Mississippi.
Can I also talk about really how institutions of higher learning, and we're talking about colleges here, have always been the birthplaces of progressive ideologies, where people will go to protest horrible things that are going on. And these institutions over the years have done everything in their power to silence students. You've noticed that over the last, I would say, and it's not just the last 5, I would say over the last 20 years or so, there has been this consistent, prevalent attempt, and not even attempt, but quashing, stifling of student protest, student activism, and things of that nature. Many major movements in this country started at institutions of higher learning. And
Mhm.
now you silence these students and you silence that voice, the progressive voice. You silence the voice of activists and activism. And now there's nobody out here um, at these institutions doing it. And now these people look like outliers. They look like crazy people when they're protesting. And now we have laws in many of these states where it's against the law to protest anymore. This is what we have going on. We've done such a great job that now it's against the law to even protest in many of these states now. And now you can't even say anything to go against the horrible things that are going on. The complete transformation of certain states into authoritarian nations.
Yep. Pretty much. You you know, again, I just feel like we've been talking about bathrooms for 5 or 6 years. I'm just sick of it. And let's be clear. Let me tell y'all a little secret. And when I say y'all, you know I don't mean y'all, because I know the people in the chat. I already know y'all know. But for the people who might be just scrolling through, let me tell y'all a little secret. You probably haven't even scraped the surface of people that have stopped using the bathroom of a sex that they have that they identify with versus what they were assigned at birth. I promise you. Because here's the thing: most of the time, you don't even know. You don't
Because
know.
then what do when somebody who, by all appearances, looks to be a woman walks into the men's restroom? What are you going to do now? Police officer going to go to them and say, "Why are you in there?" And they say, "Because I belong here according to your law." And what are they going to say? Pull it out and prove it? Like, where do we draw the line?
That's what I want to know. Like,
Like, where's the enforcement of this going to happen? That's really what I want to know.
that's what I want to know.
Because I want to know the first officer that rose up to a female bathroom and says, "All right, everybody, pull down their panties because I need to make sure everybody belong in here." Like, what? You going in the stall with people? And then you have to add to it now, it's going to be the situation where you don't look like you belong in here. You know how many naturally born women may not look like they belong in the female bathroom and vice versa? What are we drawing the line? What are we doing? I don't know. Let's get to the other story, the last
All
story
right.
of the
So this
day.
last story is dealing with the teacher shortage. Hey, everybody coming in. I see people coming in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Um, the last story today is coming. It is dealing with the teacher shortage. Again, as always, the link will be in the chat. The link will be in the chat. And let's talk about it. When I think about, okay, I'm sorry, my bad. I don't know why that song's in my head, but okay. All right, this is coming from USA Today, you guys. This is called, it was published October the 17th of 2023, and the title is Teacher Shortages Continue to Plague US. 86% of public schools struggle to hire educators. All right, let's get into it. Sorry, it was a pop up. Let me get the pop up out of the way. Okay. Nearly 9 to 10 public school districts struggle to hire teachers heading into the school year, and many potential hires were deterred by low salaries. The detail is one of many that emerged Tuesday from the National Center for Education Statistics monthly survey of public schools. The federal agency, a data collecting arm of the education department, surveyed more than 13,000 1,300 K through 12 schools in mid-August, providing a glimpse into how the 2023-24 school year is shaping up. The shortages were most commonly in subjects that generally have been difficult to fill for years: special education, science, and foreign languages. while the survey, which only captures sentiment at a sliver of the nation's public schools, shows that overall sentiments about staffing have improved somewhat since last year. High poverty districts continue to report understaffing. For the current school year, 45% of all public schools reported feeling understaffed. That's down from 53% in the last school year survey. I'm going to put a pin in that. And I'm going to come back to that. A relatively significant decline came for schools in low poverty neighborhoods. They saw a 10-point drop in perceptions of understaffing from 52% reporting feeling understaffed in the last school year to 42% this year. Yet in high poverty neighborhoods, awareness of understaffing persisted at 57%, the same level as last school year. American classrooms need more educators. Can virtual teachers step in to bridge the gap? That's the end of that. And then they talk about bus drivers are still hard to hire. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, that's the end of that article. I'm sorry, I thought it was a longer article. So let me go back up before you jump in. Let me just go back to this last thing before I forget my point about the percentages where it said that that they've reported that the school staffing has improved somewhat since last year. I'm going to say this. I'm not speaking about my district specifically. I'm speaking on people who I know who work in other districts. Just like with all things with numbers don't lie, but they can be manipulated. And what I know to be a fact in other districts is some of those positions still have not been filled. They just eliminated the positions. So it looks like the numbers are better because there aren't as many vacancies. That doesn't mean that the need is not still there. It just means that rather than have that vacancy sitting open, they've eliminated the vacancy, which results in larger class sizes and other issues that are going on. So go ahead, El Teddy, see what you got to say.
But the other part to that is it's freaking October. Talk to me in March. Talk to me in April and tell me where we are with these numbers. Don't give me no numbers at the beginning of October, okay? Show me the numbers when we get, because you know what I'm talking about, really. Be some people ain't coming back after Thanksgiving break. Some people ain't coming back after Christmas break. And some people gonna get to about the end of February and be like, listen, it's me or them damn kids. Because I'm gonna burn y'all and the school down and all the kids in it. I'm telling you what I know. And so you looking at probably the best numbers you're gonna get for the rest of the year because people just gonna start trickling out. Maybe they don't have that type of, you know, the fatigue. When you get to March and April, even the best of educators, long suffering educators, be like, listen, I don't have this type of time. And then to conflate that with, all of the extra foolery that, educators have to endure now. I mean, yeah, I'm not here for, the Department of Education. Remember, they started by saying that this is an arm of the United States Department of Education. So I have every reason to believe that they're going to do everything in they can to make the numbers not seem as bad, especially now that we're getting close to an election year. Come on now. So I, Miguel Cardona has not done a goddamn thing since he's been Department of Secretary of Education. He has not done anything. There is nothing attached to his name. He may as well have not even existed. He has done nothing. Really, I want you to tell me what he has done. He's done nothing to address teacher shortages. He's done nothing to address the what we talked about earlier with the degradation of the education system. He's done nothing to address all of the discrepancies that there are with state standards, with certain courses being eliminated, with certain book bans, and all of the things going on with the teaching of history. He has done nothing. He's been mute, silent on all of these things. He hasn't offered any ideas or programs that would incentivize teacher uh, uh, bringing in or hiring of teachers by maybe saying, "Hey, we'll offer you all an extra, however many $1 million to, offset that, so you can hire more teachers or offer more higher pay or incentivize." He hasn't offered any solution to anything that's a problem with education in these yet to be United States of America. So you want me to take the word or the numbers coming out of a survey that was put on by a branch or an arm of the derelict of duties Department of Education? I don't want to hear no parts of it. That's just how I feel.
So I think definitely our first story and this story is 100% connected. Um, 100% connected. People don't want to do this job. And the one thing I will say is that I think we were already headed in this direction before the pandemic, but the pandemic, I think, sped up the process because people found other ways to make money. Am I frozen or okay? There he is. Because people found other ways to make money during the pandemic, right? People found other ways to make just as much, if not more, or they were okay with not making the same amount of money. They were like, you know what, my mental health is a lot. It's worth it, because I don't have to deal with it. And I mean, I know for me, it's been a struggle. I mean, you know me offline, the conversations we've had. It has been a struggle, and I love education. I have a passion for education, but I
You
am,
know what really be,
struggling.
and I didn't mean to cut you off. It gets to the point where, and we've talked about this, how they always browbeat teachers. Think about the students, think about the students, think about the students. Well, at some point, you have to say, think about me. Because if I die tomorrow, y'all gonna go on like ain't nothing happened, and I'm gonna be done thought about everybody else. Think about the students, think about, and never even thought about myself. And at some point, I got to put myself first. I'm only here for this amount of time. I'm not enduring this mess.
And they say, and you know what? I'm gonna say this. So, for example, you guys know that we had a situation at my school last year. Well, we were on lockdown. It was a potentially very serious situation that was serious, but it could have been worse, I'll say. Um, there was no mental health services extended to us. School opened the next day, and the students were told, if you need to take a mental health day, you can stay home, and teachers don't penalize those students, and it's an excused absence. We weren't given that option.
Mm-mm.
And this was a Friday. So the incident happened on a Thursday. How easy would it have been for them to say, look, this school is going to close for Friday. And if anybody wants to come and talk, we're going to have some people on site. If you want to come and talk to some people, but you know what? If you need you to stay home today, we're just going to close school. Now, you told the students they had that option. But if I decided not to come to work, I had to take leave. We had a colleague pass away over the weekend. We got an email. School opened up on Monday. I mean, literally, a teacher was here. She went out sick. We get an email saying she passed away. School opened up on Monday.
And that's why I say they don't give a damn. If so,
They
that's why I say at
absolutely
some point you got to think
don't
about
care.
yourself.
They absolutely don't care. So, again, until they see I'm sorry. 2 weeks after the incident took place last year, they gave us a pizza party.
Ooh. So,
I was like, really? That's what you think I need right now? It's a pizza? So, I say these are the things. And again, in the world that we live in today, with all the things that happen that could possibly happen, you're going to continue to lose teachers. You're going to continue to lose professionals. You're going to continue to have to lower the standards of what you hire just to have a warm body in the room. And that's no disrespect to anybody that is coming into the field now, because I don't know you personally. I'm just talking about, you know, they have to lower the standards or they're going to have to close schools. You have, you know, remember during the pandemic where they were letting people who had finished medical school, they just hadn't finished taking all of their boards, they let them start practicing because they were that desperate. It's the same thing with educators, right?
Remember they talked about letting people in the military. Right. Remember how they talked about letting people who out of the military who had never even been to college go and apply for certification?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so, you know, and again, and I'm blessed. I'm going to say I'm blessed because my salary is decent. I'm not going to complain about my salary, right? My salary is decent. But I know people who have the same qualifications that I have, who've been teaching the same amount of time that I teach, that make half of what I make. And that's not an exaggeration. I'm not exaggerating. Now the cost of living is higher where I live, and the cost of living isn't as high where they live, but it doesn't matter when people start talking about, oh, teachers pay them more. I'm gonna be honest with you. I told y'all this before, they could pay me $50,000 more and I'd still be looking for a new job. Now it might make me look a little slower, but I'd still be one. I mean, my ultimate goal would still be to leave. When I first started teaching, when people were retired, and El Teddy, you could tell me, you I don't know, I can't speak for Florida, but teachers didn't retire in the middle of the school year. If your date was up in November, you worked the rest of the year, or you at least waited till Christmas break. Mm-hmm. Literally, teachers are to the day. To the day. If their retirement date is May 1st, they ain't working that extra month and a half. They like, I'm out on May 1st. I'm out on May 1st.
I know in my area, what they would do is they would still pay. As long as they kept coming, they would still pay them. Now you have school districts say, well, you got to come work for free. We ain't paying you nothing. And you got to deal with all this extra foolery that you got to deal with nowadays. And that's why they'd be like, all right.
Yeah. And then they just do stupid stuff. Like, again, you know, I don't want to get too deep, but they unnecessarily make life harder. I'm like, you do know, just unnecessarily make life harder. And again, that's across the board. I'm not talking specifically about me and my situation. I'm just saying I have plenty of friends that are in education, and I have friends that are on all levels. I have friends that work in district offices. I have friends who are principals, assistant principals, all of the above. And it's across the board. It is across the board. And the teacher shortage is going to get worse before it gets better, unless or until some serious changes are made. And right now, nobody seems to be concerned with any of that. Nobody seems to be concerned with making teachers' lives better. Nobody. When I say nobody, I mean nobody, from the top down. From, like you just got to finish talking about Department of Ed, from the Department of Ed all the way down. Nobody's concerned about making any teacher jobs easier. Nobody. And again, I'm not throwing all of this on the administration, because their hands are tied in a lot of areas, in a lot of ways. So anyway, you guys, I don't want to leave you with negatives. I don't want to leave you with negativity. So we want to try to, leave you guys with some positive vibes. The Howard University swim team, which I think they just revved their swim team back up last year. They literally just broke an NCAA record. The women's, I think it was the women's relay, just broke the NCAA record. So shout out to Howard University for their swim team for breaking records. Fisk University, which was the first HBCU to have a gymnastics team. Now, I think 2 other HBCUs have now, they're now getting a gymnastics team in order in place to compete. So, we have some great things that are happening, especially on the HBCU level. Enrollment has gone up across the board at HBCU. So I don't want to leave you guys on a negative note. We try to give you guys something good to walk away with. But yeah. Anything you want to add? Any final words, Doc? You're not going live? You said you're tired. You're not going live.
I am going live at 5:30.
Okay, you are going live. All right, what time? At 5:30?
Mm-hmm.
It's 5:32. So we're gonna get off of here. So meet us at El Teddy's house right now. I'm sorry, you guys. El Teddy's gonna have to show me how to set up the thing so we can just send you guys over there. But there are 33 people that are here. I want to thank you guys for being here. If you have not, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and please share us out. We're trying to, like I said, we're trying to get ourselves to 1,000 by the end of the year. We're trying to do it. All right. With that being said, we are out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Love you. Peace. And then